Awesome. Welcome back. So
Yes. Welcome
this
back
is Anna
again.
Dornier, as you probably already know.
And Mubarak and Sakarija.
Welcome. So from the last episode, right? If you just listen to it, then it will be fresh in your mind. So hopefully, maybe you just did that, or maybe yesterday, right? So you learned the power of integrated marketing and basically how you don't have to rely on just social media, right, in order to continuously market your business and have that unlimited stream of leads. And
Mhm.
so, but the problem is when you're presented with an integrated marketing deal, how do you know it's going to be profitable, right?
Good
So,
question. Good question.
yeah, yeah. So this is the question that we're going to answer today in part two, episode 13 of Organic Reach X. And it's part two of a marketing system that runs 24/7. So today we're going to talk about predictive math, right? Mubarak, are you
Mhm.
afraid of math?
Yeah, as I said, sometimes when it comes to tax, but I love the this marketing system math because it makes things clear, you know,
Yeah,
so
definitely. It's easy
simple.
math. It's easier math. Also
Mhm.
because Um, well, it's math that makes sense once you understand all of the terms that we're going to talk about, right?
Mhm.
And all the components of the deal, but also we're going to provide you with a calculator, for this predictive
Mhm.
math. And so you don't even have to even worry about how is this going to work out. You just plug in your numbers, right? So
Awesome.
let's go ahead and share the screen. So we are here, episode 13. Wow, I can't believe it's episode 13 already. Let's just show the um so we're gonna talk about using predictive math to find positive ROI opportunities, right? Return on investment. So we're gonna cover more words that matter to your bottom line. So last episode, we talked a lot about the different terms that we need to define in order to really have a bigger picture vision of what integrated marketing is. And so we're gonna add a few more to that so that we can kind of complete that vision for you. And then how to use predictive math to ensure your success from the very beginning when choosing your integrated marketing opportunities. So again, if you're listening on your favorite podcast app and you want to see these visuals, we take our time to create these visuals for you. Make sure to also watch it on YouTube or just download the slides so you can make sense of it when you can, not while you're driving your car, right? Or maybe not while you're working out if you're doing that, which I tend to do, which people think is weird. So anyway, the first word is integration point. So this is the point inside a traffic stream or a transaction stream at which you can insert a unit of marketing value. So from last episode, we defined unit of marketing value as the product or service that you're going to insert into somebody else's traffic stream, right? So the integration point is where the prospect encounters that unit of marketing value or UMV because it's too long, right? Or UMV in that integrated marketing partners system, marketing system, or sales process, right? So there's two types of integration point. The first is traffic stream integration point. So this exists anywhere where people are passing by without conducting a transaction. So for example, if McDonald's is right on the corner of a busy intersection, um, they're just and if you didn't stop by at the drive-through or go in to get anything, that's just a traffic stream, right? So because you didn't do a transaction with McDonald's, right? And then there's a transaction stream integration point. So obviously it's the opposite of traffic stream. This only exists when a transaction is actually occurring. So this will make a little bit more sense as we give you an example as well. So types of traffic streams. So there's the traffic stream, there's a transaction stream, and then there's different types of traffic streams and different types of transaction streams. So traffic streams would be advertising, right, or geographic or storefront. So geographic is the McDonald's example that I gave earlier. And then advertising is, let's say you're on the freeway or a highway and then you see a billboard on the right side. That's a traffic stream, like, because you're not really buying, you're just seeing the advertising. Or another traffic stream would be a Facebook newsfeed, right? If you're running a Facebook ad, your ad is showing up on the newsfeed, which is a traffic stream, and it becomes a transaction stream once that person clicks buy on that ad, right? A storefront is the same thing. So if you're imagining, for example, a clothing store, right? You can pass by the clothing store all you want, and they have all these clothes, but if you don't go in there, then that's just a traffic stream, right? So that's the big difference. So types of transaction streams would be then lead generation. So lead generation would be like if somebody were to opt in, right, to whatever lead magnet, for example, that you have, or a free offer of some sort, right? So in terms of integrated marketing, a lead generation would be, let's say, if that integrated marketing partner is actually sending you the information of that prospect that they are generating for you, right? And then point of sale is that prospect actually bought one of your UMB, right? They actually purchased something, or a bundled sale, right? They still purchase something from you, but it's bundled with, let's say, the other products and services of whatever that integrated marketing partner has in that funnel, or in that whatever program or service that they're selling, right? So in term some things to think about in terms of traffic is that more traffic is not necessarily better. So this is a graph. Again, this is where the visuals will help. So this is a graph showing that when we see an increase of number of visitors, the warmth, even though it's an email list, for example, the tendency for people to buy is actually less. And we've seen this as well, Mubarak. I think, like, before, when the list was smaller, like, I think they were more responsive. And then the bigger the list, the conversions kind of drop a little bit, right? So just keep that in mind, that tends to happen. And then also the other thing is that the further along the funnel, the more effective. So think about this when you're considering an integrated marketing deal, is that, let's say, if your product or service ends up further down towards, let's say, the thank you page, of where the prospects see your product or buy the product, that means that, um, how do you call this? That they're more qualified, like they're a higher quality lead, right? Because it shows that in this graph that you're seeing on the slide. So at the beginning of the funnel, where it's really wide, it says leads or purchasers of entry level products. So it's probably like more like a lower ticket product, right? And then towards the middle would be like the upsells, right? Medium ticket product, and then higher ticket product, like towards the end. And so if your UNB is shown to the purchases of the higher price products towards the end, then that's even better, because that means that they've spent more money with that integrated marketing partner, right? They're more highly qualified to ultimately buy your product, right? Because most of the time, if somebody purchases a higher price product, they're going to they're more committed, right? And usually they're going to actually use what they just purchased, right? And so if your UMV shows up towards the end of that funnel or of that sales process, then more than likely they're going to be more qualified for you, because especially if you made sure that your product is complementary to whatever they just bought, right? So these are some things to think about, some of the nuances that you want to think about when you're looking at integrated marketing deals. So types of integration marketing, there's internal. This, makes sense because we do this all the time, right? This happens when the UMB and the integration point are owned by the same entity, right? So if you're doing your own internal promotions, that will be integration marketing inside your own company. And then, of course, external is this happens when a UMB is owned by another business entity and then is inserted into another integration point owned by another business entity, right? So that hopefully makes sense. And this is usually the external integration marketing is usually what we're looking to build more and more of. Yes, of course, we want to do more and more internal stuff too, right? That's something that we're going to talk about with our clients soon, Mubarak, right? And we shouldn't stop doing internal integration marketing because that could be some of where your hidden sources of profits are. So you want both internal and external types of integration marketing really working together. So more words defined before we dive into the math. Integration marketing score, right? So this is a whew, can't talk today apparently. A mathematical method for predicting the potential value of an integration marketing deal. We're going to explain this in more detail, not in the next chapter, in the next slide. I should have said slide. And then the integration marketing factor. So the integration marketing factor is the rate of speed at which an integration marketing deal will provide value. So this is measured in sales, leads, or exposure to your company. So that makes sense, right? So the integration marketing factor will really show you whether or not something is going to be profitable right away. Basically, that's what it's going to tell you. So the predictive math is the integration point factor times the target factor equals the integration marketing factor. So ultimately, we're looking for the integrated marketing factor. Do you have anything that you want to add before I go into demonstrating the math of this, Mubarak?
No, not at this point.
Awesome. So let me just switch my slides, actually my screen, to the Excel sheet, which you guys will be able to download it's in the show notes. So the link is always going to be in the show notes. So make sure that you download this. All right, so here we are. So this is your integration marketing score calculator. So it has all of the values already on the left side in terms of the value, for example, of if it's a post-sale bundled advertising, it's a 0.75 factor. If it's a post-lead generator integration, it gives you a 1. So post-sale, right, means that your UMV is being shown after in a bundle, right, after the sale happened. And then the post lead generator integration is means that they sent you a lead, right? That you have the contact of that lead. So that makes sense. So this will go further and further, and it will go up from 1 to 6, the transaction stream integration point. So that's just how it's defined. So if this is kind of confusing to you, make sure to review the part 1 episode and also the beginning of this episode where we defined all these terms, because then you're really going, this is kind of like a new language, right, Mubarak? It's like
Yes,
anytime that
indeed.
you're installing a new system, it's kind of a new language. And so you're developing a new language that you can define clearly, especially when other parties are involved, right? You want to be able to define clearly those different terms. And so it's giving you value. So for example, the last transaction stream integration point factor here is called the bundled sales integration, where you're getting the information of the customer that bought that product. So that gives you a number 6. Now, that means it's highly profitable, right? Because you're getting the sale, right? You're actually getting money for it, plus you're getting the information of the customer. So same thing with that example with
Yes.
Microsoft, right? Microsoft and IBM, where they said, okay, we want Microsoft to be in the DOS program to be in every system, right? And
Mhm.
so basically they're also gathering the information of all those people as well. So that's why they made billions and billions, and they're still probably making money from that deal, right? So
Yes.
and then you're also looking at target factors on the left side, right? So I'll just mention a few. So different target market and no likely crossover. That's a half a
Mhm.
point. So if it's a different market, let's say it's not necessarily in the same niche, and maybe it's not going to be like a need, like it's not going to be a complementary thing to whatever your integrated marketing partner is selling, then it's a half a point, right? Compared to same target market and same immediate need fulfilled, where it's complementary, right? Your service solves the same problem for the same target market. That's a target factor of 4. So that's how those are defined. So now let's look at how you're going to make this math, right? So step 1, again, that formula that we showed you earlier, integration point factor times target factor equals integration marketing factor, right? So for example here, Starbucks lets you advertise your company on their cup holders in their local area targeted towards college students. So you'd pay for the cost of printing on their cup holders, which increases Starbucks profitability, right? Because they don't have to pay for the cup holders. And then it gives your business more exposure. So that's kind of the deal that you guys made. So the conditions, this is where you start to put numbers for each of these things. So the integration point on this part is Starbucks is Starbucks is not giving you the name of the people they give your cup holders to. So that's sad. You shouldn't make a deal like that. But that's why it's only 0.75. And then it's a different clientele, but high crossover target factor, right? Because most likely people at Starbucks are college students. And because like they're probably studying late at night and drinking caffeine, which I highly don't recommend, but people do it anyway. So you have a high crossover, but it's a similar audience, but a high crossover. So it's still 0.75. It's still not ideal for you, right? And then the last one, so the target factor here is if Starbucks only gives the cup holders at locations close to schools, that's the target factor of 1. So let's look at the target factor of 1 here so we can see what that is. So that's a different target, but likely high crossover factor basically. So in this case, if we do 0.75, right, the integration point factor times 0.75 equals 0.562. So here are some factors to consider. So 0.562 is not really a good one, right? What you want is an integration marketing score much higher than that. I think did we do this? Sorry, it's been a lot. How do you know this is a good score compared to with other integration marketing deals? So yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay, so other factors to consider on this deal is the cost of printing, right? It's gonna cost you money to print on those cup holders before you potentially can even see something coming back, ROI coming back from that, right? So the score again is going to be relative to other marketing deals. So step two is you multiply your integration marketing factor by the number of potential contacts to find the integration marketing score. So an example, right? The answer from the previous step is 0.562. And if you made a deal with all the Starbucks in your city and all of them sell 1,000 cups of coffee a day, then it's 0.562 times 1,000 equals 562, right? So you can calculate this score over a predetermined period of time. That means that you're not just say doing it for a whole month, right? Or you can look at the average of, let's say, 2 or 3 months, right? And also depending on how many cup holders Starbucks is actually able to distribute during that period of time, right? So for example, a daily integration marketing score of 1,000 would translate into a weekly integration marketing score of 7,000, right? You're going to multiply that 1,000 by each of the 7 days. And then an integration marketing score of an annual integration marketing score would be 365,000, right? Because there's 365 days. So again, how do you know this is a good score? You can only compare it with other integration marketing deals, right? Considering all the other factors that you learned on the left side of this sheet, then you just see, okay, if it's a post-sale integration and I'm getting the customer data, that's a 4. And then so basically the higher you are in these factors, the better. So compare that with other marketing deals, and those are the kind of things that you want to look for, criteria to look for as well when you're considering making that deal happen. And also of course the cost to you, if there is some cost. Most of these, because it's an integrated marketing deal, shouldn't cost you anything, right? The only cost probably could be a commission to the integrated marketing um, partner, right? Any addition you wanna make, Mubarak, on this? Hope you're muted.
Another factor to factor in, yes, you want to look as much as possible that there is all these elements, but also most are factor that people don't tend to factor in, which fun enough, today I was talking to a client who brought up the same question, is time factor, right?
Mm.
Because a good integration marketing, it's going to require you to do this homework. As you can see, there is some things that you're going to have to pray in to be able to determine that question. How is it that what was the question then at the end? How to know if it's a good integration marketing, right?
Yeah.
How do you know if it's a good score, right? The only way you can know is when you compare it to another one, another deal. But in order to have that deal, you have to go through in this exercise again. Let's say if you're looking at Starbucks, McDonald's, and any other business that you're doing, then you look at 3 of them and see which one it is. Yes, it's going to take some time, but the more you spend time on this, the benefit is forever. Because
Yes.
if it works out, it's a win-win. You don't have to touch about it. For
Yes.
example, in our case, there is one that we put together. It's coming to a 3rd year that we
Yeah.
haven't touched,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
yes, it took time. Yes, took some time to negotiate and everything. But when it's done right, the payoff is way, way better than the downside of not
For
doing it. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, it's definitely probably one of the best emphasis marketing we've done, right? And it is definitely worth the time to do this and continue to focus on this. It's just one of those high level tasks that we need to focus more of, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
without the new leads coming in consistently, the business dies ultimately, right?
That is, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just to share with you something also you need to know. Remember, as Anna mentioned, this is a new language, right? This is a new skill. This itself, it's a business on its own, right? So we
Yeah.
highly recommend that you take it seriously, learn about it, see how you can start with internal, right? Practice from
Yeah.
internal integration within your business, and then become good familiar with the terms and everything, then maybe go external at that moment, right?
Yeah.
For example, right now we're working on 3 integration uh, process where if they do, when they do, which not even if, I know for sure they're going to work out, but because there is a learning curve where even you're educating the other party to find that integration point. I also really find a good MV, right? So all that takes time, right?
Yeah.
But when they do work out, oh man, as I said,
Yeah.
we have one that has been ongoing for 2 years, so coming to
3.
3 years,
Yeah, almost
right?
3.
Almost three, you know? So
Yeah.
when those 3 works out, there you go, another potential of 3 years without having to work on it, right?
Yeah.
So it's very high level. This is those activities that it's worth $1,000 an hour type of activities.
For sure. Definitely. It's definitely something worth focusing your business on.
Yes, it
Yeah.
does.
And then the internal stuff, like you mentioned earlier, Mubarak. And it's funny that we're about to go over that, and it's actually top of mind for me right now to do all the internal stuff. It's actually one of my to-do lists is to really dive a little bit deeper into the internal stuff because you made me realize that. Yeah, I noticed from having owned a gym in the past, right? But it's one of those things that like business owners or entrepreneurs forget about, that the some of the most of the profit can be made inside
Mhm.
with the clients that you already have. And we could be missing a lot also if we don't identify those hidden profit sources inside our business, right?
Yeah. Uh, I don't know how to put it, but here is a good example. It's not that most, it's the best income comes from the past client or the client that you ever have. When
Yeah.
you look at all those different companies, I'll give you example. Look at Apple as an example, right?
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
been a customer to Apple for 12 years, right? Just think about it. They keep selling me different phones. I have their marketplace. I keep buying apps and this. Now I have their cloud, right? That's another upsell. That's another internal integration, right? So you okay? Then I don't want a phone. If phone is not enough, I buy their watch. Watch is not enough. I buy TV things now. The tags in a car. You see, so those all that in they don't have to spend any more money on me or marketing to me because they already have me. It's just hey, here's another offer that you can do that. Look at Amazon. Why do you think Amazon is number one biggest company in the world? It's because of integration marketing. Because
Yeah.
as soon as you buy a membership, you're done. You don't need
Yeah.
to do everything else, right? They keep upselling you TV. Think about the kids. If you have a family, toilet paper, name it, right? So it's that easy. But most of us, in this moment, we sell ourselves saying, "Oh, I have this new customer that I need to serve." Yes, it's a new customer, but you already have 2, 3 past clients that they already know you, like you, and trust you. By the way,
Yeah.
that's another whole episode and the series on its own that you can go back and watch on
Yeah.
how to do that. But now imagine you have went through time putting in effort to build the know, to build the like, to build the trust. But now you want to go back and start from scratch when you already have these people saying, serve me, right? Support
Yeah.
me, right? Take me to the next level, right? So yeah, it's in the mind, it may seem that it's a lot of work, but if you work it out good and you understand this cities that we just shared with you, it's going to be the best thing you ever do to your business.
Yeah, totally.
Mhm.
I agree. I know I'm excited to continue working on it because it is powerful. I mean, it
Yeah,
made billions by Microsoft for a reason,
of course.
right? Yeah,
Yeah, it made Amazon the biggest company, Apple,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
It
yeah,
works. It
yeah.
works.
Totally, totally. So that is what we had for you for this episode. So definitely, again, if you're listening on your favorite podcast app, be sure to download the slides in the show notes and or follow along on the YouTube channel as well. You have options. It's really up to you what your preference is. So this has been Organic Reach X.
We show you how to go with the flow organically in your business.
So see you next time.